on YouTube again. Having walked out of the court in Newcastle on Thursday, only to find that I've been handed a 3-day Facebook ban. Now it would seem that... right, let's try this again. Anyway, here we are. It is the morning of Monday, the 20th of May, 2019. And the title of this morning's broadcast is Corruption, the Essential Ingredient of Control. And we see this very much with regards to David Noakes and Lyntyre and their quest to bring GC-MAF to market, a proven effective cancer treatment, which the British establishment, thanks to the fact that they are in total hock to the pharmaceutical industry, are refusing to permit to come to market, using the henchman, the MHRA, the Medicines and Healthcare Regulatory Agency, to effectively block anything that challenges the big pharma revenue stream. So later this week, Lyntyre is facing extradition to France, thanks to an outrageous decision by Lord Injustice Michael Supperstone, who demonstrated that basically he is corrupt, and that the decision was not based on evidence. The decision was based on an allegiance almost to the French judicial system, and not wanting to upset the French judiciary by denying the extradition request. And frankly, the lack of evidence presented in court to justify the application for Lynn's extradition defies belief. And the fact that Injustice Supperstone actually gave the legal team representing the French judiciary an extra 7 days to put together the reasons why they wanted the extradition when there was none, and that at the final stages of appeal. So, you know, Supperstone should be held to account. But of course, it's unlikely that he will be. But, you know, the bottom line is that anyone who finds himself up before Injustice Supperstone, basically, if you are in any way challenging the corporatocracy, then, you know, don't expect a result. And we saw this the same. He was the judge presiding over the application to prevent Quadrilla from initiating their frack at Prestonby Road back in last October, but he said, nah, get in there, go ahead, it's nowhere near where I live, it's not going to affect me, so get in there and frack it. And then, of course, you know, obviously the attitude was, well, I don't know anyone in my family that's got cancer, so what do I care about GC-MAF and the fact that it's a proven effective cancer treatment? No, let's get it shut down and extradite one of the prime movers to France. And, you know, if you wanted to see the level of this guy's psychopathy, then look no further than in his ruling. He made the observation that it mattered not that Lynn's father had recently died, and that now she would be the prime carer for her elderly mother. So these parasites who effectively ride on the backs of the masses, you know, they are worthy of our absolute contempt. And you know, Lord Injustice Supperstone brings the British judiciary into absolute contempt. And you know, the guy doesn't have the balls to bring me before him to explain my comments, because I would do it in open court. And of course, the reality is that the court would be absolutely rammed. And you know, we would get the opportunity to share our concerns and frustration that the judiciary are not looking after the best interests of the British people. And to quote the judge who presided over the Newton hearing of David Noakes and Lyntyre, this is not a court of morality, it's a court of law. Well, once the law is exposed as being there purely to protect the corporations, then there is little doubt that the law needs to be changed. So watch this space, because obviously I shall be keeping my audience abreast of developments in the David Noakes and Lynn Tyre situation. David, of course, is still on tag and has curfew between 7 p.m. and 7 a.m. Lynn, at the moment, does have her liberty. She has to report every Monday to the police. So she's, this is the situation that she's been in now for some considerable time. And of course, she's facing the extradition, and the likelihood is that she would be held on remand in France, which is not in great shape right now, is it? Well, following the AV10 appearance of David and Lynn, I've decided to break with tradition, and I have posted the video of David and Lynn's presentation at AV10, and that is on my YouTube channel. So that's the Ian R. Crane YouTube channel. So please do watch that video, and if you're able to watch that video and not feel the emotion rising within you and the anger rising within you, then you might want to go and check that you've still got a pulse. So elsewhere, the corruption, of course, continues with 5G. And last week, of course, Mark Steele got a result where he got a slap on the wrist from Judge Kramer, a fine of £250, suspended for 2 years for minor breaches of the injunction brought about by Gateshead Council last year to prevent Mark from discussing and raising his concerns about 5G and the LED streetlights. Well, it just so happens that on this dry stone wall alongside me, I happen to have a downloaded copy of the Gateshead Council Constitution. Now, it's a fairly thick tome, as you can see. It runs to 260 something pages. But I just want to share with you some of the content of this document. Now, every single authority in the country, whether it's your parish council, whether it's your town council, whether it's your district council or your county council, they all have constitutions which are legally binding. So I'm just going to draw your attention to a few pertinent elements here, because bear in mind that Gateshead Council are, of course, refusing to acknowledge that they have 5G, and certainly they are refusing to engage, and they have also refused to put forward any technical specialist to confirm that they are not rolling out 5G. So I think the reality is that everybody knows they are, but they are keeping it from the public at the behest of whom? That's a very good question, because they do not want the public to know that this military grade technology is being rolled out right across the UK. It's not it's a blind to say that it's only going to be rolled out in 16 cities. That's what they're telling you. It's only going to be rolled out in 16 cities as a trial, but in reality the infrastructure is being rolled out across the UK. But there is an interesting potential block to this, more of which later. But anyway, let's have a look at this Gateshead Council Constitution. Article 1, 1.03, the purpose of the Constitution. The Constitution will support the realisation of the Council's vision through supporting the active involvement of citizens in the process of local authority decision making. Yet there doesn't seem to have been any involvement of citizens in the decision to install 38,000 plus LED streetlights with 5G ready transmitters on the top. Creating powerful, effective and impartial means of holding decision makers to public account. Well, there you go. The bottom line is that the moment that anyone from the public actually challenges them and tries to hold them to account, then the council gets injunctions against them. Ensuring that those responsible for decision making are clearly identifiable to local people and that they explain the reasons for that decision. Well, that's what Mark's been trying to do now for, 18 months. He's been trying to ask the council, who made the decision, who's responsible for the decision. And of course, in court, he actually provided the evidence to show that one of the council officers is also a director of telecoms companies involved in the rollout of 5G. So no corruption there then, eh? But, try and find out who was responsible for these decisions. And, there's a wall of silence. So there you go. That's on page 9. So we haven't even got into double figures. And already we're seeing that the council cannot uphold or refuses to uphold some of the fundamentals of its constitution. But then we go to the Director of Public Health. And in summary, it says the Director of Public Health is responsible for the functions and responsibilities under the Health and Social Care Act of 2012 and the National Health Service Act of 2006 and all related legislation. Well, more on the functions of the Director of Public Health. It says that his responsibility or her responsibilities are to discharge any functions in relation to the corporate public health duties of the council, authorised to the Director of Public Health under the NHS Act 2006 and the Health and Social Care Act of 2012, including responsibility for preparing the annual report on the health of the local population. Well, that's not looking very good, is it? Because the death rates in Gateshead, according to Public Health England statistics, are on the rise. Undertaking duties to take steps to improve public health. Well, that's not happening, is it? Because they're rolling out carcinogenic LED streetlights, right across the borough, and installing military-grade battlefield microwave technology on the top. In exercising the council's function in planning for and responding to emergencies that present a risk to public health. Unless, of course, we choose to ignore it. So there you go. That's on the functions of the Director of Public Health. So whoever it is that holds that role, and I'm not going to name them at this juncture, but whomever it is that holds that role has that as their defined responsibility in the Gateshead Council Constitution, which is a legally binding document. And then we go into the Code of Conduct for Councillors of Gateshead Council. And under General Conduct, it says that you must not conduct yourself in a manner which could reasonably be regarded as bringing the council or your office as a member of the council into disrepute. Well, how does that apply to Sheena Ramsey, the chief executive of Gateshead Council, who's got a she's got a track record that's somewhat dodgy, having received a £330,000 payoff from Knowsley Council to go away quietly before all the allegations of corruption against her manifested into the public domain. Well, that might just happen sooner than you think, Sheena. And also Jill Ramsey, the mayor, because Jill Ramsey and Jill Green, the mayor of Gateshead, and Sheena Ramsey have clearly colluded because they both committed perjury in court when they claimed that Mark Steele had left the podium during his presentation to Gateshead Council and, in their words, went for them, when the video evidence shows that nothing of the sort happened. So, once again, two officers here, although that applies to councillors, but one's a councillor, one's an officer, and they certainly don't conduct themselves within any integrity. The protocols of the role of the Director of Public Health, and interestingly includes water fluoridation programs. Anyway, one of the fundamentals is protecting the health of the local population. And, that ain't happening, is it, in Gateshead? And so how is it that these councillors are kept stum? Well, part of it, of course, may be financial, although the financial rewards for being a member of Gateshead Council, one might argue that they're not excessive, but each councillor gets a basic allowance, and I'm reading from the Constitution here, of £10,550 per annum. The leader of the council gets £31,660, the deputy leader £21,102, a chair of a committee gets anything between £13,000 and £15,800, the vice chairman get £6,500, and this is all in addition, of course, to the basic allowance of £10,500. And so the leader of the council gets £10,550 plus £31,660, making a grand total of over £42,000. And so, these are the financial returns. So if you want to keep getting your £42,000, then you better shut up about 5G and LED streetlights and just keep pushing the party line. Well, like I said, every single council has a constitution. And so my advice is to download it, read it, see who's responsible, and hold them to account. Now, an interesting turn yesterday in the Guardian, there was an article that streetlights around the country are becoming prime real estate because the telecoms companies are literally fighting over who gets access to a particular streetlight to install their 5G transmitter. So first and foremost, let's have a look at what's occurring here. That article confirms that 5G transmitters have to be installed every 300 meters or so, and they want to be putting them onto lampposts right across the country. But those lampposts are owned by local authorities. So here's an opportunity for local authorities to do the right thing and uphold their constitution by getting risk assessments and asking for a full health analysis on the infrastructure that the telecoms companies want to put on their streetlights. So get onto your local authority, get onto your councillors, make it clear to them, if they're not already aware, that 5G is a massive risk to the health of the community. And although the government has stated that the telecoms projects, particularly 5G, is a national infrastructure project, consequently, the telecoms companies don't have to get planning permission to put up masts of 75 feet in urban areas or 85 feet in rural areas. But if they want to put transmitters on the top of a lamppost, because the council own the lamppost, they've got to seek the council permission. Do you see the connection here? So get on it. We don't have time. And Mark Steele is in the process of initiating a judicial challenge, but we need judicial challenges right across the country. So don't think for one moment that a single judicial challenge is going to stop this industry. This literally has to be challenged by every single community around the country. And, we have, like the fracking campaign, we have to be in a situation where, the challenges are coming from so many different directions that nobody, not least the industry or the government, know where that next challenge is coming from or what form it will take. And this is what we need to do with 5G. And it's wonderful to see groups emerging around the country. I know there's a very effective formative group in West Wales and on the south coast of Brighton. They've had great events in Bournemouth. And Bournemouth definitely needs to get on top of it, because Bournemouth is being used as the poster city for promoting the role of Ordnance Survey in helping the telecoms companies and the council site the 5G phone masts. Anybody involved in rolling this technology out is probably doing so in absolute ignorance. But there are a few who know fine well, not least, of course, Tom Wheeler, the former head of the FCC, who back in 2016, he said, we need to get this technology out. Let's not wait for the regulations. Let's get it out. Because they know damn well that once the analysis does start to kick off, then it's going to be very apparent very quickly that this technology is not conducive with human health and well-being. So, corruption. Of course, we know that the primary means of control in the UK is through paedophilia. And, this is openly admitted by many at senior levels within the establishment. And that's why, the likelihood is that they're able to do pretty much whatever they want to do, because they can keep these guys stum with the threat of their exploits being made public. But, we have to get beneath that, as it were, rise above that, but get beneath it and build the challenge, not from the top down, but grassroots up. Those who are doing it from the top down, will be met, but the challenging it at grassroots level is going to have a lot more impact than it will if you try and do it top down. Hold the people who are responsible for rolling this out in your community, hold them to account. It's all to play for. Later this week, we have an election, more of which on Wednesday. There is an increasing opportunity to bring about significant paradigm shifts. Those who think they are the rightful rulers of a planetary field, their agenda, but they're getting desperate. And the more desperate they get, the greater the opportunity for the law of unintended consequences to kick in. And the law of unintended consequences tends to work in our favour. So you guys have a great day, and download your council constitution, identify those who are responsible for maintaining public health and well-being, and hold their feet to the fire. Make them know that not just you, but your community is on the case. And if there are any reported negative health effects as a result of 5G technology being rolled out or LED streetlights being rolled out, then they will be held personally to account. You have a great day, and I will catch you on Wednesday at 8:30. You take care now.